Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to International Film Festival Etiuda&Anima. My name is Paulina, and I am pleased to introduce our next guest, Simone Giampaolo, the director of animation Only a Child is here. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you so much. Dzień dobry.
Dzień dobry. Hi. Just a short words about your animation movie. So Only Child is animation which was created by over 20 animators. So it's a unique visual poem which is based on Severance Suzuki's speech, which her put on at the UN summit in Rio 1992. That was speech which should put our attention to climate crisis. And your movie Only a Child also celebrates the environmental youth movement. So my first question I would like to ask you is about this. How did you actually plan the whole narration of your animation movie when you had so many different aesthetics and so many animators here? Could you tell us about this process?
Thank you. That's a very interesting question, and that was the hardest part of the pre-production of the short. Really, the most challenging part was to really finding the right talent, finding the right artist who could bring the different sections of the speech to life. So I approached it in this way. First of all, I divided the speech into different segments, and I re-edited it. So if you listen to the original speech from 1992 and you compare it to Only a Child, you will see that this speech has been completely remixed. So I tried to remix the different segments to make the narrative and the visual story flow better. And then I took each segment and I tried to imagine, I tried to envision that as a visual representation of her words. Basically, I tried to think what kind of metaphor, what kind of visual allegory can we use to represent these words. And based on what I could come up with during my storyboard and my animatic process, I started allocating different techniques to different segments. So I thought, this segment would be perfect for the sand animation. This one needs to be done in CG because there are lots of distractions and lots of explosions. This other one would be perfect in stop motion because we can use plasticine. So I really tried to start with the content, start with the visual idea, and then try to allocate the right technique to the right segment. And following that, I had to look for the right people. So there was a lot of research and recruiting when we had to put the team together.
Okay, thank you. I must say that I was really amazed by that, how it was cohesive. We didn't have this feeling that it was mess up, you know. It was like a one movie, and I think that it was also helpful that you took this speech and cut this and put it to the animation, because the speech was so strong. And when we were watching your animation, our focus was, we were focusing on each word that we can hear. So that was really interesting how you cope with that problem.
Yeah. I'm really happy you say that, that it feels like one film. It doesn't feel like lots of different strangers met and did different things and I edited them together. The idea was really to create something which had a fil rouge, like a common theme throughout the film, and I wanted it to feel like a united piece. In order to achieve that, I tried different things. First of all, color palette was used for that, so there is a transitional color throughout the film. We wanted to represent climate change. We want to represent global warming throughout Only a Child. Therefore, you can see the color palette of the different segments slowly becoming warmer and warmer. So we start the short with just tones of blue. So everything is quite cold and not aggressive. It's like quite chilly. And slowly it gets through green, yellows, and red and orange. So that color palette helped us really unifying the piece. And second is transitions. We really try to be creative with transitions between one section to the other, so that it would feel like all the artists collaborated to make this work as a unit, rather than just cutting it all together and paste it.
Wow, I'm really glad that you said that you used that color palette. I wasn't aware during watching this animation, but right now, when I try to remember, that become an obvious. But when you see this at first, you are not aware about this what you use. That is really interesting, I think. Next question I would like to ask you is. How actually this project started? Can you tell us your direct inspiration? Was it this Seven Suzuki speech that was your direct inspiration to prepare this animation movie?
I spent many years in London doing commercial animation. So, animation for commissioned film for clients and so on. So I really wanted to create something more personal, something a bit more meaningful, with a message, with a strong moral. And I've always been very close to the environmental movement. It's always been something close to my heart, and I wanted to make another film about climate change and the environment protection. I remember finding Severn Kale Suzuki film many years ago. I think it came out on YouTube around 2006 or 2007. It became very viral with the name The Girl Who Silenced the World for 5 minutes. You can still find that if you type it online on YouTube. But then I forgot about it for many years, and I found it again in 2018. And that's when I listened to that again. It really moved me and touched me, and I thought, wow, this would be perfect for an animated film. It would really work well, especially with many different techniques coming together, like different nations, different tribes uniting for the same message. So I messaged Severn directly, and I said, would you like to make a film out of that? Has anyone ever done it before? And unfortunately, no one had used her speech for an animated film before, so that was very good news. We would be the first ones. The speech has been used in many other ways. They made books, they made poetry, songs out of it, but never an animated film. So that's how the journey started.
Okay, and we can actually hear Seven Suzuki in this animation. Is her
Yes.
voice in the animation, in voiceover?
Yeah, that's the original voice, but cleaned up. We worked with some very good post-production audio people who managed to take the original video from YouTube, because that's the only place where you can find it. It's YouTube. So we managed to take the original audio and clean it up and make it much nicer.
It sounds really strong when we can hear it. It's a really strong voice and strong message as well from your animation. And I'd like to quote maybe two things from this Seven Suzuki speech. First of all, the question, which is really strong: did you have to worry of these things when you are my age? And parents should be able to comfort their children by saying everything going to be all right. It's not the end of the world. But I don't think you can say that to us anymore. And yes, when I was thinking about it, this is the common rule our parents can say to us. It's not the end of the world, but actually, when we will think about it, it's not. We cannot say this anymore, and that's really hard to cope that information.
Well, yeah, that's the other main reason I wanted to make this film, is because this speech was given 30 years ago. So imagine at that time, people, scientists, and even kids like Severn, we knew about these problems. We knew that we were affecting the climate, affecting the environment, but no one really did anything. And now, to like this week, there is COP26 in Glasgow, and everyone is gathering to make changes and to hope to do something when it's already almost too late, and just in me, the one reason I wanted to make Only a Child is really to show that people already knew about this issue, and children have been fighting for the environment for decades. It's not something that was born last year or in 2019 with Greta Thunberg. That became a global phenomenon and a global movement, and it's very, very positive and felt around the world. But we knew this stuff way before. We knew before about that, even before I was born, and it felt right for me to show that through animation.
Okay, so please tell us, Simon, do you have children, and have you had the chance to show this animation movie to your children?
No, I don't. I don't have. I'm not a dad yet, but
Okay.
I've been showing it to many other kids, which came to the cinema at film festival, or I've been showing it to families with kids, and it's very moving and it's very touching when the kids come to me and thank me and say, "Oh, thank you. That's really, really what we feel as well. That's exactly what we feel we should do, and that's exactly what we feel we should say to adults." And that makes me very happy, when it's appreciated by the whole family.
But I can also imagine that for just that young children, it also can be really hard to see it. The message, it's not optimistic.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's not a optimistic film in a way. I wanted Only a Child to be a slap in the face of the people watching. I didn't want to have the happy ending. Everything will be fine. Everything will be restored and beautiful. I've done that before. I made other short films which are like that. I also directed a environmental TV series for Sky Kids last year, which was much more hopeful and positive and beautiful. I really wanted Only a Child to make people, feel bad almost. I wanted to, the film to slap their face and say, "Hey, we should act now. We cannot wait any longer."
Yeah,
So
we
yeah,
were.
it's not really. It doesn't make you happy, but that's
true.
intentional. That
Okay.
it was made to make you feel sad and to act.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, and it's even really hard to talk about this whole climate crisis. And at the end of our conversation, I must to ask you this question: do you still have a hope of saving our world?
I think there is still hope. I even met Severn, Carly Suzuki, in person a couple of years ago while she was traveling through Europe, And I asked her the same question. It's like, Severn, do you think there is still hope? Do you still see hope? And she said, as long as there is the will to express our faith and our moral and our ethics through art and action, there will always be hope. So I'm after hearing her response, I also try to always keep hope. Always try to keep my mind open to new possibilities, and I think hope it's always been there. I think hope will always be there. The only thing which separates us from extinction is the choice of world leader and populations to embrace new ways of living, or new ways of really living together with nature, and that's the only thing really between us and a very, very pessimistic future. It's just our decision, and I think there is hope to make the right decision. I just hope it comes soon rather than later.
Yeah. Thank you for that. That was Simone Giampaolo, the director of animation Only a Child. Thank you for being with us, and good luck with your activism, global warming activism. And thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much, Paulina. Have a lovely day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.